Hey Starcrafters, Wookie here, and I wanted to show you something that I discovered recently in my journey through the Bronze Ladder in Starcraft 2. My last video was not a Bronze League lesson, but I ended up talking a little bit about scouting. And so I wanted to put a video together that more easily demonstrated what I meant and what I was talking about. So this is one of my ladder games, Protoss versus Protoss. I'm blue. My opponent Chandler is red. His name is actually Chenandler Bong. Ms. Chenandler Bong. I'm going to get through the game pretty quickly because I just want to get to the point about scouting. Now, as I say that, I pause it. You can see early, if we're going to look at my cam, so this is the Wookiee cam, you can see I sent out that first probe about 2-ish minutes, and you can look at the minimap. You can see my fog of war opened up where my probe walked in his base. I can see his nexus. I know he's getting a pylon and a gateway, and that's just standard. I always do that, and you should too. You can see I put the probe on control 1, the nexus is on control group 4, so I can continue to make probes and jump to my scouting probe at a moment's notice when I need to. I will typically queue up a shift commands, hold down shift and queue up some commands. What I like to do is go to the everybody cam. Actually, let's not, because that stuff gets in the way. What I like to do is bring it into the base, and once it gets there, hit a shift command, check this gas, come back, check this gas, and then run around behind the mineral line. If you cut through, you can be surrounded and killed, so I don't do that. Then I'll get up here and try to move in a circle a couple times, and shift command back around just to see if any new tech dropped, and then get out of there before any combat units get on the map. Back in my base, I did a double gas. 2 gates, went with a Psy-Core early so I could get gateways right away. I'm not sure my plan was the best here. I get 2 sentries as soon as the gateways pop, thinking I can use the force fields to block the ramp if I have to, while I mass up on 4 gate. I didn't have a really great plan. This is kind of just what happened. Now I'm getting a forge, which is not part of the typical 4-gate rush, I don't think. I'm not an expert on it, but this is more like a timing push. Or if I wanted cannons to defend, when I went like 2-gate robo, you would need a forge for that. But here I move out. My timing is, we're going to pause a second, my timing is about 30. I moved out. And this is pretty small, 1, 2, 3, 4 sentries and 3 zealots. Actually, there's a tab that will tell me that. 3 zealots, 3 stalkers, 4 sentries. Are the stalkers behind? The stalkers, I think, are trapped in the base. There's not enough room for them to get through there, so they stay in the base, which is unfortunate. I think I noticed that, and bring out a probe and put a pylon down. But pausing again. As far as what I've scouted in his base, this is all I know. That he started with the Nexus and built a pylon and a gateway. Which, if I play 658 games versus Protoss, I'm going to predict that 658 times my opponent's going to open with a pylon and a gateway. I'm just saying. So that scout didn't really do me any good. And then I didn't get back to and didn't scout anything, and now I'm poking around here. I'm like, oh, let's go poke up and see what he's got. Well, what he's got happens to be a lot more than I do. I'm dead. My whole army gone. Not my whole army, but most of it. So I'm like, oh, great, Void Rays. Stalkers being my natural response to that. And he paused here at the Zelnaga. I'm like, oh, great. Now he knows exactly where I am, so expected result here. I maybe could have microed a little bit, but I try not to worry about that, because I have far greater issues than my micro. So and then the ramp, I kind of didn't get to my my sentry in time to put a force field down, so that didn't work out. And the outcome here is pretty predictable. I mean, even given this, you can see if you chrono boost your gateways, by the way, you can speed the cooldown. I learned that more recently than not. When I first started playing, I didn't realize that you can chrono boost gateways to quicken the cooldown. But, excuse me, even with getting surprised by the void rays, I may have been able to hold that off if I were just a little bit better, but I didn't. So this goes on for a little while, about 3 more minutes, and I die. So, but what I wanted to point out was, while my initial scout, this is at 2 minutes now I've moved, you can see we're at 2 minutes, and here's my probe, and I'm looking around, I've got my commands queued up. And that's great, but I don't get back to his base at all, and I just kind of poke at his ramp blindly with an ill-conceived group of units, and with nothing really in mind as what to do. I'm like, let's see what he's got, I'll run away, but he had too much. What I really needed to do was get in there earlier, send a probe back at 4 or 5 minutes. Here's 5 minutes. Let's go to 6 minutes. Alright, 6 minutes. I want to pause it as soon as it's done loading. We're going to go to the every cam. Now what if I scouted right here? He's only got 4 units, 3 zealots and a stalker. That's escapable. I mean, you can escape from this. Let's pretend I move my probe up here. First thing I see is a Stargate, and you can see the void ray in there. When it's producing a void ray, the void ray will show up in the center animation there, so you can see it. There's a little void ray in there. He's chrono boosting it. So that would have been useful information. For sure. I mean, absolutely. Only one gateway. I mean, that tells me that he is going in double gas if I get that far. That tells me he is going hardcore void ray already. So 6 minutes is what I'm going to say is a good time to start looking for definitely Stargates if your opponent is Protoss. But I think with any of the races, I have several different replays, and I may string them all together in one video to make the point, but about 6 minutes is where you want to get in and look at your opponent's base again. Do whatever you have to do to get in there. I mean, you don't want to throw combat units away, but throwing a probe away, getting a probe up here and seeing this was definitely worth the information I would have gotten. Because right here at 6 minutes back in my base, I'm still in a position where I can make some decisions. I can get a forge and cannons down. I can go very stalker heavy. I can get a pylon back here and start warping in stalkers. I can do a lot of things. I can put down my own Stargate. I can do a lot of things to prepare for the arrival of void rays if I see them at this stage. As it turned out, when I didn't scout at all, I had absolutely no time to prepare for it. I didn't even know they were there until I was bringing zealots to his doorstep. So that is my Bronze League lesson. Scout at 2 minutes, scout at 6 minutes or so. Do whatever you can do to get in there and get a look at your opponent's tech. It may reveal a 4 gate, a 4 racks. It may reveal, Zerg. It may reveal Mutalisks. You gotta get in there and know so that you can be prepared. So that's what I know. Good luck to you in your ladder games. GLHF. I'm Wookie, and I will see you next time I learn something.